Welcome back to WEDO Pay It Forward. I'm so excited for you to hear the incredible story from Dr. Tristina Anderson. Welcome. I'm Milena Radakovic, and this is WEDO Pay It Forward. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce you my next guest, Dr. Tristina Anderson from Unlock Your Powers Within. Welcome, Tristina.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
So I'm the CEO and founder, like you said, of Unlock Your Power Within, which is a transformational life coaching business.
Very excited. I can't wait to share your journey because it's a very interesting one. So as a doctor, you used to be an executive, right? So you used to do all the consulting for somebody else, and then you decided to have your own and started being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Talk us through that journey.
So it was about 15 years ago. I was working with different kind of companies, not-for-profits, healthcare organizations, for-profit entities, and I was working in mergers, acquisitions, and I just noticed over time I ended up sacrificing a lot of my time with my kids. I had 2 kids at the time, a son and a daughter. And I lived South Calgary and I was working downtown Calgary, and my kids were having to get themselves up for work, so get themselves to bed sometimes or have cereal for supper. And anyone who is an executive or an entrepreneur, a mom as well, yes. We struggle sometimes to provide the time that we want with our kids and our families, and then also build and do a really good job as well.
Right.
During that time, I was actually just finished a master's degree, so I have an international MBA in finance and accounting, and then juggling working full time, raising the kids, and working on my schooling became really challenging. And I just felt in my heart that I was not providing the life that I wanted to provide for my kids. So when my kids were younger, we actually went on a holiday to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And on one of these trips, my son was going into grade 10, and we were standing on the balcony looking over the ocean. He said to me, he said, "Mom," he said, "why can't we just live here?" And that just pulled on my heartstrings, and I thought, you know what? I might be able to make that happen. So we came back to Canada. I sold my house.
Wow.
I left the big consulting firm I was working in. I started my own consulting practice. I bought a house sight unseen in Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
Lived in a rental for a little while, and I moved to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico with my kids.
Wow.
My son that was going into grade 10 and my daughter that was going into grade 3. It was challenging. It was exciting. As you can imagine, I had friends and family that were saying, you know, you're leaving a job here, you're starting your own business, you're moving to another country with your kids, how irresponsible, all these other things. But I thought, you know what? My kids deserve to have a life like this, and I want to have this time with my children. So we did it. We moved down there and started that life, and I would fly back and forth between Canada. My kids would go to school down there, and
so they were living there full time?
We were all living there full time.
Okay.
I would just come back and forth to Canada when I had to meet with my clients. I worked remotely before that was a thing.
And how long ago was this that you
So it was about 15 years ago now.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
There was no such thing.
That wasn't
Yeah.
back then. So I was doing that back and forth, and my kids went to school down there. Eventually, they both moved back to Canada. So a few years ago, they've actually both moved back to Canada to start their lives down here. And they both tell me all the time that was one of the greatest experiences that they enjoyed. So after that time, I kind of started thinking, you know, taking different steps to be a brave thinker and moving forward and living a life that was by design. Because I find that most of us, we just live life by default. Mm-hmm. We go to high school, we graduate, we get married, we have kids, we do the things that we think that society expects us to do. And sometimes as women or as entrepreneurs, we take a step back because we think, you know, I shouldn't put myself forward because I have this life that I have to provide for my family. So at the time, I kind of started thinking, I need to live bravely and boldly, and then show my kids that they too can live bravely and boldly. So during that time as well, I decided to pursue a doctorate degree in global business and leadership to continue to provide that type of resources to my clients. Like I said, I was working in mergers, acquisitions, and stuff like that. And I continued to do that, but what I was starting to notice is that the executives and the entrepreneurs that I was working with were having those same challenges in their life. They were working a disproportionate amount of time. They were sacrificing their health. They were sacrificing their time with their families. And I knew what that was like because I did the exact same thing. So I just kind of thought there must be a better way for us to live these lives that we're wanting to live, because the older we get, we start to realize that time starts to become subtracted. Right? And, you know, I was in my mid-40s by the time I got my doctorate degree, and I thought, I just want to live this full, abundant life where I have time, money, freedom, health, well-being, love and relationships, and all this kind of stuff. And from there, I actually became a life mastery consultant with the Brave Thinking Institute. And that gave me a separate set of tools to work with my clients on building that harmony within their lives, the tools that they need, you know, to be successful, to have those type of things. So that's kind of the two things that I offer my clients is on the executive entrepreneur side is helping them build that internal capacity where they can take a step back and build their life by design and realize that you can have everything that you want. You just have to take the scary steps sometimes that come with that.
So let's talk about your business then. So are you like a solopreneur, or is there coaches under you that you help your clients?
No, I'm me.
Okay, so you're a solopreneur master coach?
So I'm a life mastery consultant, and I work with my clients depending on what they're looking for resources, sometimes one-on-one and sometimes in a group setting. So I have curriculum-based programs through both my master's degree and my doctorate degree in leadership, global business, for some people who want to take the next step and build their businesses internationally. And then through a life mastery consultant, some other things about some of the softer skills that we kind of look like as, you know, how do I focus on the internal me and build the things that I want? So I've merged them together to provide, like I said, different types of programs from 12 weeks to 1 year.
So we've got a variety of different people who are going to be watching this. And some are established entrepreneurs where I can see a total benefit of what you do. And then we have some aspiring entrepreneurs. Now, you decided to take a step, give up a corporate job, benefits and everything to become your own consultants for yourself. If there's a woman out there or any entrepreneur that's looking to take the next step, I'm sure they're scared. What did you learn from that experience going from the corporate world to being a solopreneur that somebody who's in our audience could say, okay, there's a great tip. Okay, I was scared of this. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Or yes, I can do that. So walk us through some of the hurdles that you learned from and some of the tips that you can say, if you want to go and do this, this is what you should do.
I think at the end of the day is you have to have confidence in yourself. We all have these great drivers internally, but we sometimes just forget to you know, have faith and courage in ourselves. When I was deciding to leave my corporate job here, I had a home here, I was starting my own business, moving to another country, I had no idea how I was going to be able to support my kids. And if it was even going to be successful, I was going to be in another country. What happens if I ran out of money?
Were you a single mom at the time?
I was going through a divorce.
Okay, because I keep hearing that. I'm like, okay, so on top of it all,
I was going through a divorce.
Going through a divorce, and you were taking the kids, so you were going to be sole provider in a sense. Right?
And I was actually very fortunate that my ex-husband was a willing participant, because how many ex-husbands would allow their kids to go to another country? So I was very grateful, and the kids were very grateful that he allowed them to do that, and so I'm very thankful for him for that opportunity. But it's scary, right? And the fact that we're moving to a country where we don't really know the culture, we don't really know the language and all the nuances that happen in some of these areas. But like I said, I think when you put the steps on to be a brave thinker and you live your life by design, these are the things that I want to accomplish in the short amount of time which we don't know how long we're going to be here. So take the steps you can with what you can actually do today.
So why don't you tell the audience, what are some of the steps that you took or you could recommend taking when you're going to go from the corporate world to starting your own business?
Yeah, you have to have the confidence in yourself to take the steps, and regardless of what perhaps may happen, you can always rewind some of the things where you make an oopsie. Like literally in life, sometimes you can take an eraser and start over. What I have found that works really well for me is I write things down, and then I go back and I read them, and I write them down again and read them, and I live my life by the design in which I created in the 4 quadrants, right? Love and relationships, health, well-being, vocation, and time, money, freedom, because this is the life I want to live. And you have to be able to get on that frequency in order to build that life.
So it sounds like almost creating your own vision board,
Yeah.
right? I remember I did that with my form, and it's actually helped me. And then I revisit it every 5 years. So I think that's a great tip that we can give to our audience. I love writing things down, and the way that you said, find your passion and your purpose, and then that can all connect if it's family and community that's connected with it, and then it's all written out for you visually. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Oh, well, what I want to start looking at next year is I want to hold, so I still live in Puerto Vallarta. I'm a full-time resident down there. So I'm actually going to be holding retreats that I'm going to be offering twice a year. So entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs and stuff like that in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So that's what I'm going to be working on for 2024.
Excellent. Okay, so how can the audience get a hold of you and your business?
So you can find me on Facebook at Unlock Your Power Within, and you can find me at tanderson.uypw@gmail.com.
Thank you so much again for coming in and sharing your story. It was so inspiring. I wish the whole audience just get up and take a challenge and do it. Don't worry about the risks. All risks will happen, but it's worth it at the end. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see each other soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye for now. Thank you to our supporting sponsor, Jill Dews of Daughters Creative, for supporting WEDO Pay It Forward and supporting the next generation of aspiring female entrepreneurs. If you are inspired and want to join a WEDO community, then go on WeDoCanada.com and also nominate and sponsor the next inspirational woman.